If you're a whiny little bitch who doesn't know what a hard day's work is, if you cry and moan about having to put in the elbow grease, if you run from accountability and shake at the thought that maybe it's not them, it's you, if you're already uncomfortable and scared during this disclaimer, turn this shit off. We'll give you 2 seconds. Time's up, bitch. This is the ERIN MARIE Podcast, where the pussified mentality gets thrown in the dumpster fire where it belongs, and mediocrity gets skull-f***ed. We're talking total annihilation. This show is about getting off your ass and handling your shit, because the fate of the next generation depends on you becoming mentally unfuckwithable. Let's rock it, you unapologetic Americans. This is the ERIN MARIE Podcast, and here she is.
Community, what's good? I'm your host, ERIN MARIE, and this is the show where I teach you guys how to master your attention. I also teach you how to weaponize your discipline and build a brain that bends in your favor, all through the power of neurobiology. And before we go any further, I want you guys to know that this podcast is being broadcast straight into 119 countries. That means that this message and all of the other podcast episode messages is landing every single day in the ears of people who execute under pressure in places like Australia and Denmark and Colombia and Romania. Who else do we have dialing in? I see Italy and Egypt and Ireland are showing up on the charts, and Canada. We have people from Brazil tuning in, and Finland, and Ukraine is tuning in, and Hungary, Bangladesh. We got people on 2 sides of the world, one in Malaysia, we got one in Poland, and a bunch of other countries, and of course, the good old US of A. And that doesn't happen by accident, guys. It happens because the tactics that I teach produce results. So if you're listening right now, I want you to understand the weight of that, because today's episode is going straight to the root of why your brain collapses under pressure, even when you swear that you want better for yourself. Now, whether you're a loyal listener and this episode was in your queue already, welcome back. Or whether you stumbled across this show by accident and you are a first-time listener, hey there. Let me kick this door wide open for all of you. I want to talk to you guys about something that I see happening again and again and again with people who say that they want change. They say they want a stronger mind, a better life, and a brain that bends in their favor. But these are the same people who keep showing up with behaviors and thought patterns that betray the way that they chase their most ambitious desires. And guys, I'm not talking about the drifters who dabble in change when it's convenient. I'm not talking about the dip their toe in, dip it out every now and again. No. I'm not talking about the someday crowd either, who treats their potential like a weekend hobby. I'm talking about those of you who woke up today and finally said, I cannot keep living like this, but also have no idea what the hell that actually requires. So if that's you, if you're listening right now and you woke up today and you're like, I'm sick of doing the backstroke in a cesspool of my own fucking mediocrity, I know that you guys arrive at the place of personal development at different places and spaces in time, okay? You're all coming in from different stages in your career, every background, every profession, every season of life, so I know that it looks different for everybody. But regardless of where you start on your journey, the truth remains the exact same. You are either willing to do what's required to take massive action in your life that will build a brain that holds under pressure and brings you success, or you're not. Period, guys. There's no gray zone. There is no halfway lane here. And I'm talking about the kind of success that builds your ultimate life, whatever that means for you, however you define that. Some of you want greater emotional control. Others want sharper thinking under pressure. A lot of you want stronger physical health and a more powerful career. Some of you want deeper relationships. I know some of you want a better girlfriend with a banging body and brains to match. Well, there's a requirement for that. And some of you want a life that you're actually proud to wake up inside of. Now, granted, you may not know exactly which action steps are required to make any of those things happen for you, but you damn sure know what the fuck that you need to stop doing in order to move the needle forward in your life. And it all comes down to asking you one question, and here it is. Are you willing to do what's required of you? Are you? I don't know. I'm asking you. Are you willing to do the hard shit that your future self is begging you to do? Are you willing to stop being the person that you have been in order to become the person you were meant to become? Because a lot of you are shaking your head yes, but I'm thinking maybe you just like talking about it. And here's where I want to draw a line in the cement. People who actually build a brain that doesn't break under pressure. I'm talking about the people who overcome, who rise, who execute, people who are in a totally separate class of their own. I'm talking about the people that you guys look up to, all right? Those are people who understand one simple truth. And that truth is taking action is the great separator. The right action, mind you. I'm not talking to you about motivation. I'm not talking to you about good intentions. And I'm not talking about those of you who are like, oh, I'll start on Monday. I am talking about action. Consistent, uncomfortable, unsexy action. I'm talking about the behind the closed doors where nobody sees or claps for you kind of action. And I'm talking about doing this every single day. In fact, as long as you walk this earth, your mentality should be this. This should be the mantra that's going through your brain every single fucking day. And you should be telling yourself, I will leave myself no other option except the kind of action that actually changes my life. That's what you should be saying to yourself every single day, guys. And let me explain why this matters and why most of you listening will never get to where it is you claim you want to go unless you fix this next part. So turn the volume up. Most people don't fail because they're incapable. You are capable. They fail because they build their entire personal development standard and the effort they're willing to take around being a little bit better than the losers of the world who don't even really try. I mean, they set the bar a little bit higher than the Care Bear motherfuckers of the world and then go congratulate themselves for clearing the bar. Let me tell you something. That's the most pathetic benchmark you could ever use to measure your effort. Why? Because when you set the bar low, you always win by default. But you'll never ascend that way. You'll never evolve. You'll never stretch your capacity. You'll never develop the cognitive endurance required to hold the line when pressure shows up. If all you're doing is staying one step ahead of the people who aren't doing shit in their life, the people who literally do the backstroke in the cesspool of their own mediocrity, it means you still aren't doing shit with yours. And I need you to let that hit. I need you to sit with what I just said for a second. You need to stop going around taking just enough action that gets you just a half a bit of rung higher than the losers, okay? That's not a shingle for you to hang. Winning against the losers of the world is not a win. It's pitiful. There's no nobility in this. And it's not a real achievement. Because losers don't even try. They don't push. Losers take no personal accountability for anything. Losers are miserable people that add little to zero value to society, and when they die, nobody ever remembers who they were because they never did anything with their life to be anything other than irrelevant. Beating them does not make you exceptional. It exposes how low you've set the bar for your life. And why is this bar-setting problem of yours just deeper than effort? Why am I talking to you about this, guys? Because it's neurobiological. It's behavioral. It's wired straight into how your brain learns how to operate. Your brain adapts to whatever you repeat and recall. Not what you want, not what you intend, not what you go around talking about, but what you practice. Now, does practice make perfect? I've said this before in other episodes. I say it all over my social media. I talk about this in nearly all the videos that I record, okay? Does practice make perfect? No, it does not. Practice does not make perfect. Practice makes permanent. And if you practice low standards, if you go around practice cutting corners and doing just enough to stay ahead of the cesspool of mediocrity, then half-ass standards becomes your default operating system. You think that taking just a little bit more action than the losers of the world means something that you should stand there and be proud of? It's not. And if that part stings, then you're not going to like what's coming next. Every time that you choose just enough, every time that you allow tiny, tiny, tiny compromises, every time you aim for better than the losers, You reinforce the wiring of your nervous system to equate to the cesspool of shit that you keep doing the backstroke in your own life. And that's why at the end of every night, you feel that pit in your stomach, don't you? Because you know damn well that you are leaving a shit ton of potential on the table. You know that you could have done more and given more and learned more and helped more people. You know you could have pushed harder at the gym. You know you should have been eating cleaner today. You know you should have trained better, worked deeper, loved harder, saved more money, held yourself to a higher standard, and shown up with the type of effort that actually moves your life forward. But you didn't. And that is why you're secretly miserable, because your brain knows exactly where it folded. And once your brain learns that you break under pressure, it's going to expect this pattern to repeat every time. That's what keeps you awake at night. Not failure. Failure's not keeping you awake at night. Not adversity. Not lack of opportunity. It's the quiet, suffocating awareness that you abandoned yourself in 1,000 tiny ways that nobody ever saw, right? Nobody ever saw, but you did. And while the cesspool mediocre people of the world look up to you and think of you as like a rock star, you and I know deep down that you're a half-assed little bitch. You didn't do what you knew you should have done. You knew that you quit on yourself. And that's the difference between the people who you look up to, the people who believe that halfway is never enough, and you. Remember, the people that you look up to believe that if a monkey wrench to the teeth is what it takes to get the job done, then they take it to the fucking teeth. They watch their blood spatter on the concrete and they go ask for seconds. Mother, may I please have seconds to the teeth? And then they wake up the very next day and they take it to the teeth all over again. Fully joyed, fully committed, deliberately, relentlessly, zero hesitation. These are the people who don't wait for ideal conditions. They don't wait to feel motivated. They don't wait for luck, money, miracles, or permission. These are people who execute regardless. I'm talking regardless of whether the meeting of a lifetime lands, regardless of whether they wake up with sunshine in their chest or a storm behind their eyes, regardless of whether life gifts them good news or punches them in the throat, whether tragedy strikes or plans fall through, whether somebody dies or somebody betrays them, whether their world collapses or explodes, or whether they survive a car crash as a front seat passenger where the driver suddenly decides to die by suicide and take them out by slamming them straight into a concrete wall. No matter what the universe throws at them, to these people, they find a way to win. And then there's the rest of the population, the permanently stuck crowd, the people who don't listen to this podcast, the ones who keep digging the hole that they're standing in deeper and deeper and deeper with the same shovel that they'll swear to you isn't the problem. And then when somebody like me walks up to those people to the edge of their hole in the ground that they dug, and I'm smiling at them, and I'm like, hey, listen, guy, listen, I know the way out. I have the blueprint. I can help you climb out of that hole that you're digging yourself. Okay, I know the way. And I'm like, hold my hand out, right? I got a smile on my face. These are people who turn towards you, shovel in hand, mind you, and they tell you to fuck off. Because mediocre people will always defend their own self-destruction. They defend the hole that's killing them. They defend the habits that ruin them. They defend the patterns that wreck their potential. They defend their misery, and they go quit on themselves again and again and again. And if you're listening to me right now, and it's you standing in that hole, holding your shovel, still arguing with your potential, still in the fuck you, I know better phase of your life, let me be painfully clear. This is the reason why you continue to quit on yourself, and you deserve to be absolutely miserable. And here's what makes this even worse, guys. Most of you aren't failing because you never start. You're failing because you never keep going. You're trapped in a neurobiological loop your pathways have mastered. Here's the pathway, okay? Start strong, crash fast, quit on yourself quietly, pretend it didn't matter, repeat the pattern. That's you, all right? Your start-stop pattern, it's not a personality flaw, okay? It's not a motivation issue, and it's not because life got in the way. It's the neurobiology of a brain that has learned collapse is safer than pressure, and it's the fastest way for you to get relief. And your nervous system is loyal to the familiar, and the familiar things that you have repeated and recalled more than anything else, which is stopping, backing out, dropping the standard, walking away from the hard shit, convincing yourself you'll try again when life is less chaotic. But building a brain that refuses to break, guys, it means this. It means you stay in the fight when your brain is screaming to stop. You override the impulse to fold. You refuse to negotiate with your brain when your brain turns to shit. You recognize your brain doesn't care what you want to have a better body or a better house or a better career. Okay, it doesn't care about that. It cares about conserving energy, avoiding discomfort, and remaining inside the patterns you have reinforced for years. That's why every time you start a new workout, you decide to be disciplined. You commit to waking up earlier. You eat nutritious one-word foods like an adult. You vow to stop letting your emotions run the show. You stop half-assing your life. Every time you choose the harder path, your brain fires off in the same ancient alarm. Oh my God, this is hard. This is new. This is uncomfortable. Let's quit. And because you have obeyed that little bitch voice 1,100,000 fucking times, it takes the wheel before you even realize that you've quit. This is why your life hasn't moved. This is why your progress stalls year after year. This is why you're exhausted but never fulfilled. This is why every time the future version of you tries to claw, pinch, bite, scrape, or inch forward at all, the old you, the quitter, drags you back into the box of mediocrity. This means that you need to start doing the shit that scares you until it doesn't anymore. You got to be willing to do that. This means you need to be willing to do what others won't. This means you cannot quit on yourself anymore. This means that you must recognize that you've conditioned your brain to think that quitting isn't actually quitting. Do you understand? Because you've defined quitting as taking a breather, reassessing, waiting for a better time. I'm listening to my body. I'm trusting the process. Oh, tomorrow will be better. Next month will be better. Next year will be better. No! That's your boredom talking. That's your self-betrayal. That's you quitting on yourself. And that, not fate, not bad luck, not your childhood, not your job, is why nothing changes no matter how hard you swear you're trying. So when you sit there and you wonder, why can't I stay consistent? Why do I keep sabotaging myself? Why do I start strong and finish weak? Or I don't even start at all? Why do I talk big and deliver small? These are questions I know you guys are asking yourself, okay? It's because you break your flow, talk yourself out of the next rep, convince yourself the goal can wait. It's because of your unwillingness to do the work. Your start-stop patterns are not random. They're not accidental, and they're not who you are. And until you break the pattern of bitching out on yourself, your current neurobiology will always come back to fuck your shit up completely. Not because you're incapable of building cognitive endurance, but because you've built a brain that rewards quitting more than finishing. And because of that, you will never build, never create, or never become anything more than you are right now. And it's time to stop being the person that you have been so you can become the person that you were meant to become. And if you haven't taught yourself how to shake hands with the beast in your head, if running through obstacles like a freight train isn't your goddamn lifestyle, you will implode on cue and crawl back to your shards of your own broken promises, back to the life you claim you hated, by the way, back to the life that forced you onto the new personal development journey in the first place. And this is your pattern. You start something meaningful and then you self-interrupt the process the moment it stops feeling convenient. Guys, most of you listening are actively trying to build something in your life, something that matters, something that lasts. But because you won't build the cognitive endurance it takes to win, you never reach the breakthrough. You've never made it far enough down the path to see the view that you long for. You haven't earned the perspective that you're starving for. And what is that perspective, huh? What's the perspective that you're looking for that you don't have? It's the fulfillment. It's the deep bone-level confidence that you gain only after showing up every single day with the right consistency. That is the breakthrough that you have never tasted. But instead, what you do is you go jump from next personal development program to the next book, to the next seminar, to the next mentor, to the next firewalking experience, to the next New Year, New Me declaration, to the next reinvention. And because you haven't changed your relationship with quitting, you never reach the finish line. You never reach the point where the process pays you back. And if you want to build success in all areas of your life, and yes, I do mean every area, every single angle of the spectrum, you must learn how to wake up in the morning and keep the promises you make to yourself for the rest of your life. Because until you learn how to discipline yourself, until you learn which promises actually matter, until you learn how to get back up after taking a monkey wrench to the teeth, you will continue to spin inside your same tired circles. You will never gain traction. And there are some of you listening who genuinely believe that you can dominate in life, that you can just step into the 1% while walking around with cracks in your foundation, cracks in your integrity, cracks in your cognitive endurance, cracks in your discipline, cracks in your follow-through. You cheat on your fitness regimen. You cut corners when nobody's watching. You let your emotions dictate your day. And then you still think that you can compete with the top 1%, with the people that you admire? You think that you can build a brain that refuses to break? You think that you can be neurodominant? You don't get it. You begin your day and then you collapse under the exact same excuses. I couldn't complete my workout today. Life is so hard right now. I need to press pause until things calm down. Oh, you know what? I'll just pick up next week. And this is why at the end of the day, you bitch out on yourself and I don't. And no, motherfucker, you cannot use your circumstances as an excuse. You cannot take a breather from your goals just once and just think that everything's going to be fine. You cannot skip the reps and still earn the results. You cannot take the easy way out and still rise to the top. And this right here is the core fundamental issue with your character. This is why you can't succeed. This is why you never reach fulfillment. This is exactly why you remain stuck in the exact same neural loop year after year after year. If you allow even one crack in your discipline, one compromise in your standard, one moment where you crave to the weaker version of yourself, I promise you, you will never feel powerful inside your business, your fitness, your interpersonal relationships, your finances, your marriage, your career, your mindset, any program that you sign up for, or your life. You will never experience what it feels like to build a brain that never breaks. Not when you're still worshiping convenience and mediocrity and doing the backstroke in your own cesspool of shit. Stop embarrassing yourself. Your mentality is exactly what exposes you as part of the quit on yourself herd, the mediocre victim squad crowd people who crumble the moment friction appears. And guess what? This mental collapse that you're headed straight into from not course correcting today, you know what? It might not wreck you today, okay? I'll give you that. Maybe it doesn't wreck you in 2 months. Maybe it doesn't wreck you in 2 years or, hey, even 10 years from now. But it will wreck you. Total destruction. And your ignorance is only making things worse. Your willingness to pretend that none of this is happening is exactly what you will look back on with regret when your entire world collapses on your fucking shoulders. And listen, the life I'm describing here for you to do, build a brain that never bakes, all right? The life of self-efficacy and discipline and zero deviation and neurodomination isn't for everybody. I get that. But I also want you to know everybody can do it. Everybody can dedicate time to develop the skill sets that take their life to the next level. Everybody can build a brain that doesn't break, which is why you are listening to me today. Because you know I'm not speaking from theory. I live this shit. I've separated myself from the pack. I've forced my discipline until it became trained discipline. And this is coming from somebody who didn't always operate like this, by the way. Guys, I wasn't like born with trained discipline. I didn't come out of the womb mentally unfuckwithable. I wasn't always the person who could look at adversity straight in the eye and say, move, bitch. For years, I was the girl who grabbed the cheat day before the workout was even finished. I was the girl who took breathers who negotiated with my bare minimum self, who let holidays, weekends, moods, and other people's schedules dictate my commitment. Guys, I was the poster child for tapping out just this once. I'd convinced myself that dialing back to 35% for a few days, hey, wasn't a big deal. I'd justify skipping the reps because life got busy or because family was in town. I'd press pause every time things got mildly uncomfortable. I was doing exactly what you guys are doing right now, destroying my own success one compromised standard at a time. But when I switched my mindset to zero deviation, when I committed to going hard in the paint every single day, I'm talking mind, body, spirit, business, finances, interpersonal relationships, my entire fucking world changed. My body morphed. My cognitive endurance expanded. My business transformed. My spirituality strengthened tenfold. Sharp iron, guys. And then I realized something that most people never understand. My capacity was unlimited. Unfucking limited. And so is yours. You can always push a little further. You can always rise from the version of you that quit yesterday. You can always ascend. And when you realize this, it will become a turning point for you, just like it was for me. You need to be able to start and finish. You need to lean into your ambition with your full force and potential. You need to experience the transformation that comes from the struggle, from the sacrifice, from the emotional pain, from staying in the fight long enough for the breakthrough to occur, because that's what produces the character traits and skill sets that eventually become a lifestyle of fulfillment. And by the way, weight loss programs aren't about losing weight, if you don't already know that. Finance programs, not about finance either. Coaching programs, not really about enlightenment. They're about discipline. They're about doing shit the right way, the hard way, so you can finally earn the results you claim you want. That's where building a brain that never breaks finally becomes a reality. So let me tell you how subtle this battle really is. You want to know when everything shifted for me? It wasn't during some dramatic, life-changing moment. It wasn't even when my life fell apart, like you think it would be, but it's not what had happened. It was over a goddamn peanut butter cup. I swear to God. One stupid, insignificant item in the candy aisle. But it revealed everything about the gap between the person I claimed to be and the person my actions proved I was, all right? I'd stand in my kitchen and I'd be like, oh, it's only one peanut butter cup. It doesn't matter. I'll get back on track tomorrow. But what I didn't understand at the time of this was your brain doesn't distinguish between small compromises and big compromises. It only learns whether you hold or fold. It only understands repetition and recall. So every compromise trains your nervous system to choose the easy path. Every just one reinforces quitting. Every I'm going to pick back up tomorrow teaches your brain that you're full of shit. And so I had to begin telling myself, if whatever it is I'm about to do violates my standards that I have chosen for my life that I claim I want, then the answer is hell to the fuck no. Not maybe, not just this once, not, oh, I've earned it, not, okay, it's going to be fine because I'm just going to start over on Monday. No, it's fuck no. So I started saying fuck no to anything that weakened and misaligned with the version of me that I was building, meaning I would say fuck no to laziness, shortcuts, excuses, low-value thought patterns, people who drain my energy, environments that soften my discipline, foods that made my body feel like trash, conversations that pulled me away from my mission. And each time I said fuck no to something that didn't serve me, I wasn't losing pleasure. I was gaining power. My nervous system learned that I was in charge now. My discipline began training itself. My capacity expanded, and my life changed. And most people have never felt what that's like. Do you guys get that? Do you understand? Most people only know the hollow feeling that comes from quitting on themselves quietly and hoping that nobody notices. And here's what most of you still don't understand. Your capacity is a direct result of the standards you keep, not the standards you claim you have. And when those limitations become the wiring under the hood, you don't just quit on your workouts or quit on your business goals. You quit on becoming who you were meant to become in this world. And that's why Building a brain that doesn't break under pressure is not motivational rah-rah bullshit. It's a neurobiological weapon. It's strategic warfare for your mind and future self. If it weakens you, the answer's fuck no. If it strengthens you, the answer is hell yes. If it scares you, you face plant straight into it. If it challenges you, you stay in the pocket. And when you learn to stay in the pocket long enough for discipline to become trained, long enough for your nervous system to adapt, long enough for the beast in your head to realize it can't control you anymore, that's when you finally shake hands with yourself for the first time in a long time. You shake hands with the person who doesn't break promises to themselves, the person who doesn't negotiate with cognitive weakness, the person who doesn't need hype or motivation or applause, the person who handles their shit no matter what storm is ripping through their life. And when that version of you takes the wheel, you don't just level up. You dominate, you ascend, you become mentally unfuckwithable, and you start living with the cognitive endurance of the person that you were always meant to become. Hey, look, guys, I take a step back sometimes and I'm in awe of what this work has done to my life. Not because I'm special, not because I got lucky, not because the universe sprinkled fairy dust on my forehead. It's because I stopped negotiating with the weakest parts of me. I stopped being the Care Bear motherfucker in my own life. And if you are listening right now and you are struggling with self-doubt, low self-belief, if you're drowning in shame, in confusion, or that soul-crushing I'm not enough pit in your chest, it's not because you're broken. It's because you haven't done anything significant enough yet to warrant feeling any better than you do right now. Your brain doesn't trust you because you haven't given it a reason to. But guess what? Today's an opportunity to course correct the bad decisions that you're about to make, to course correct every moment that you think about quitting on yourself. I'm living this shit, guys. I'm proof that this works, and I'm no different than you. I am human, just like you. I struggle. I fail. I get down on myself. I get frustrated. I get scared. I get embarrassed on the daily. Seriously. I get punched in the teeth by life just like everybody else. I'm just like you. The difference is I don't stay on the fucking floor. And neither do the people you admire. Neither do the people ascending in their life. Neither do the people that you point to and be like, damn, I wish I could be like that. I'm telling you, if you want to experience the life that you claim you want, you must change your approach to quitting. You must change the way you've been doing things. And some of you listening, you guys want to change the world, and I respect that, but you don't know how. Well, okay, guess what? It starts with you. Before you change the world, you have to change yourself because your life is the message. Your discipline is the signal. Your transformation and the way that you make your life purposefully harder gives others the silent permission to do the same in their life. And when you commit to building a brain that doesn't break under pressure, you don't just alter your own trajectory, you change the history of everybody connected to you, your kiddos, your family, your friends, your colleagues, your interpersonal relationships, your finances, your physical and emotional lineage, everything. And all you have to do to claim victory is this. Commit to keeping the promises you make to yourself and follow through for the rest of your life. No deviations, no compromises, no detours, ever. And if you ask me, guys, that's really not a whole lot to ask of yourself because this is your obligation as a human being on this planet. You're out there spending shit ton of money on like masterminds and coaching programs and books and retreats and firewalking drum circles and all this other shit, trying to find the magic fairy dust that's going to make all your troubles disappear. But if you don't fix your core problem, all right, if you don't fix the cracks in your foundation, the ethical deviation, your start-stop patterns, your compromise standards, your quit mentality, none of what I'm talking to you about today then is going to even work, okay? It's just not. If you had the skill sets needed for the life that you say you want, then your life would already reflect that. And trust me, I've been where you were, okay? I've spun my tires in the mud and I couldn't find traction. I've prayed to fall asleep before I fell apart. I've been so shattered, I couldn't imagine a way out. But I clawed my way out of that shit pile, and I am never going back. You will make progress the second that you stop deviating from your standards, and you will change the trajectory of your life the second that you operate with zero deviation, and you will rise to the arena of the people who dominate the world when you stop quitting on yourself. When you train your body, you do all 4 fucking sets. You don't do 3 and then call it a day. When you commit to eating nutritious, one-word foods like somebody who respects their body, you eat like that every damn day. Not 6 out of 7 because you earned a treat. And you operate with zero deviation for the entire year, and then you rinse and repeat on year 2. Most of you listening are hunting for shortcuts. You're still looking for compromises. You're still hoping that there's a softer path to greatness. And that right there is why you quit on yourself. So yes, maybe the title of this episode is misleading, because maybe it should be, oh, here's all the reasons why you quit on yourself, okay? Because you want to know the only reason why you quit on yourself is? You want to know the only reason? The only reason. It's any reason that you give yourself, any excuse you allow, any compromise you justify, any breath that you take when you haven't earned it, any escape route you take, any moment you draw back instead of pushing forward, any lie that you tell yourself about why you can't, every little micro moment where you negotiate with cognitive weakness, that's the moment that you lose. Not instantly, but inevitably. Over time, quietly, silently, in the dark, where your real life is being engineered. So stop pretending that none of this applies to you. It does, okay? You're not above this concept, and neither am I. You can go sweep the shit under the rug if you want to, but just because you bury it doesn't mean it doesn't stop the bleeding. It just means you're going to trip over it later when it finally explodes in your face. So, you can go hire a coach to tell you all the niceties. You can sit in sound baths or pray for fairy dust to fall out of the sky. But if you don't do the work, if you don't seal the cracks in your foundation, if you don't clean up your character, if you don't keep the promises that you make to yourself, if you refuse to do every single thing that you can to make progress, if you don't stop lying to yourself, if you don't stop listening to the beast in your head that wants you fat, lazy, apathetic, bloated, dependent, cognitively weak, and irrelevant, if you don't stop being the Care Bear motherfucker in your own life, you will lose everything. Stop failing yourself. Stop marinating in the mediocrity that's rotting your potential. Stop doing the backstroke in a cesspool of shit. Stop buying into the narrative that you can't. You can. You want a different life? Go earn it. You want more cognitive endurance? Train it. You want more confidence? Build it. You want more momentum? Go stack it. And if there's a monkey wrench that comes flying directly at your face, because it always does, don't flinch, don't panic, don't collapse. Go take the hit straight to the teeth, stand back up, and keep moving forward so you can show others what's possible. And at the end of the day, this world needs more people who are mentally unfuckwithable. And your results will expose you every single time. You either hold that line or you fold. You either become who you're meant to become or you won't. You either rise under pressure or you become the name no one mentions, no one remembers, and the example nobody wants to be. It's on you to change your lifestyle for the positive. It's on you to keep up with that lifestyle consistently. It's on you to wake up and apply discipline, pressure, and a zero deviation mindset every single day. Building a brain that refuses to break is not optional. This is a necessity for your success. And if somebody tells you different, they're either lying to your face or trying to sell you their firewalking experience ceremony. So get your head out of your ass. Go take what I'm telling you today. Go build a brain that refuses to break right now, not later today, not after the first of the year, not once you get your next paycheck, not after your parents stop hating you, right fucking now. Get back up, get pissed off, get in the arena where brains that refuse to break are built, and go fucking refuse to break.
This has been the ERIN MARIE Podcast. So many people walking around out there are professional victims and complainers, and we ain't having it. If you agree and you've gotten something from the show, make sure to like, rate, and review. Remember, stay off your ass, no excuses, and never settle for mediocrity. Catch you next time on the ERIN MARIE Podcast.